So we are talking about the ZA13-C and the ZA12-C. The build quality on both of these is exceptional. I've got no shell flex, no rattle, no creaking whatsoever. These are built like absolute tanks. The main mouse buttons have no side play whatsoever. There is quite a bit of pre-travel, but in real use I do not really notice it. Post-travel is minimal, but the clicks are still soft, so they are easy to spam. The buttons have some slight comfort grooves, as it's pretty much standard for ZOWIE. I would prefer these curves to be a little bit deeper myself. The side buttons have some pre- and post-travel, and they are very light. Good for games and decent for overall use, but these are not the most premium feeling side buttons by any means. The scroll wheel is the new updated ZOWIE scroll wheel, as with all the C-series mice, and it's still loud. I've talked about the ZOWIE feet in many videos already, but this time I've got a little bit of a comparison. I put hyperglides on my ZA13-C, and my ZA12-C still has stock feet. So let's see how these compare on a few different paths. With the Skypad, I really do not notice a massive difference here. The hyperglides just feel a little bit faster and smoother. I did not really expect this because usually these ZOWIE stock feet are very smooth. Anyway, I do like the glide with these stock feet and the Skypad, so I do prefer them over the hyperglides with this one. On the Addice high end, then again, the hyperglides do feel rougher, which is expected, and they also feel faster and have less static friction. But because they do offer more feedback, I do prefer these hyperglides on the high end. And for the last comparison, we got the GPZ1 or the Rocket Jump Ninja mousepad. Here the hyperglides are much faster, there is less static friction, and even though the mousepad isn't rough by any means, you can sort of feel the weave a little bit more, so there is more feedback. On the Rocket Jump Ninja mousepad, the hyperglides win again. The biggest difference was on this mousepad, and here I would feel a little bit compelled to switch the feet, because the stock feet can be quite slow with these mud pads. With the High-end and the Skypad, I would not need to change the feet. Moving on to cable, and it's one of the best stock cables on the market these days. It's very flexible and it has this insanely upwards angle on the stress relief. So it's very easy to set up in a bungee so that it does not drag on your mousepad or your desk. The performance of the CA series is of course again great with the 3360 sensor, and the click latency is also good, especially when you press the back mouse button when you plug the mouse in. This will enable the lowest debounce setting. The CA13 is about 69 to 70 grams on my scale, and the CA12 is about 72 to 73 grams. Both are well balanced, but I would like to see the ZA13 to be a little bit more lightweight. Something like 60 to 65 grams would be awesome. And finally, we are gonna talk about the shape. The most unique characteristics of the mouse are going to be the high profile and pronounced hump, and the fact that the mouse slopes down very aggressively towards the front. And the front is low profile. Because of that, there is not that much room on the sides of the ZA13-C, and especially on the front. This could cause issues if your fingers are large. For example, my fingers are not that large and my thumb is almost always touching the side button here. And this ledge on the front right side is designed to make the mouse easier to lift, which makes the front right corner initially for me a little bit uncomfortable, but of course that's only when I have my fingers extended right here. Getting back to my thumb again, and when I use a more aggressive kind of claw, my thumb is way more towards the back of the mouse, and here I do not have any kind of issue with the space. My thumb is here basically below the backside button. And then again, my pinky and my ring finger are far more towards the middle of the mouse, and there is more than enough space right here. The ZA shape is basically good for any kind of claw grip, and also palm grip for medium and large hands. For small hands, I would say that the ZA13-C is the only option, but it won't feel very small for you guys. So if you prefer small mice, I would get something else. For medium-sized hands and claw, the ZA13 is an amazing option, and so is actually the ZA12 if you prefer larger mice. With my 19x10cm hands, I can't palm the ZA13-C, but I can palm the ZA12. For large hands, I would also recommend the ZA13 for claw, but keep in mind that if you have those large fingers, you might struggle with the space on the sides. And the ZA12 is also going to be a very good option for you guys for palm and claw if you prefer slightly larger mice. I'd say only get the ZA11 if your hands are absolutely massive and you want a really large mouse. For me personally, I do enjoy the ZA13 the most, but I can't use my endgame grip style with the mouse. It's impossible for me to rest my palm on top of the mouse because of the extremely aggressive hump right here. But I do enjoy aggressive claw and relaxed claw, and I can get my thumb very close to my index finger, which I do really like. The ZA is pretty much the only ZOWIE shape that has not been cloned for now. The one shape that is slightly comparable is maybe the Addice, as you most likely will end up claw gripping these mice the exact same way, but the hump on the ZA13 is just way more pronounced and you get more of that palm contact. The HDS also isn't as high profile, it doesn't slope down to the front as aggressively as the ZA13 does. So it's a bit of a stretch as the hand feeling is different, but you can grip these the exact same way. And overall I would say the HDS shape is more like a small superlight than it is a ZA13. I perform well with the mouse, especially in TAC FPS. Precision is on point, so it's easy to tap heads in CSGO, and it's also easy to control the recoil. The pronounced hump does give me a lot of control, and as the ZA13 is fairly thin from the middle and from the front, it does not feel bulky at all. Which for me means that I'm mobile with the shape and the weight, so controlled turns and flicks are natural and easy to make. And also because of the stability and control, smooth tracking feels very good as well. The ZA12 then again starts feeling a little bit too bulky for me, so I do lose some mobility and I would not perform my best in any fast-paced fights. As this shape is so unique, I want to give you guys some general knowledge about testing, which is especially important for all of you guys who test all kinds of different mice and have a hard time finding their new main. There are many variables when you test something short term, and to be clear, I'm talking about variables that can affect your in-game performance. For example, with mice, there is your overall well-being, like are you hungry, are you happy, are you tired, and so forth. Then there is also the possibility of a honeymoon period when you get something new. Basically, you are giving your brain something new to process, which is exciting and that can improve your motivation. That alone can improve your performance over the short honeymoon period. Then there are many gaming-related variables, for example, how is the server, how are the enemies that you're playing against, how the mouse works with your current mousepad, and how used you are overall to your current mousepad. This is all still excluding the shape, which might be very unique, just like the ZA13-C is for anybody who hasn't tried it before. That basically means you will have to spend more time to get used to it. This is why it's important for you guys to test products for at least 2 weeks. The longer the testing period is, the more consistent results you will get, because you are averaging out some of those very good days and very bad days. That's pretty much it from me. Check my FK2C review right here and my S2C review right here. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button, and see you in the next one.